Welcome to Village Church Connections. I'm David Pavey. Have you ever been replaced by a younger man or woman? I have. Do you remember how it felt? I sure do. So how did you handle it? For me, the experience of being replaced by a younger man some years ago pushed me to take a new look at some stories in the Old Testament about characters who were replaced by a younger man and how they handled it. So let's start with Eli the priest, for example. The child Samuel was a miracle baby, born to a formerly barren mother, Hannah, in answer to prayer. In gratitude, Hannah gave the boy back to God to serve under Eli, the high priest. And with magnanimous grace, Eli adopted young Samuel, the chosen child, as his helper. But then God chose to speak to little Samuel rather than to Eli. James Burns, the poet, put it this way: "What from Eli's sense was sealed, the Lord to Hannah's son revealed." Hard as it was for Eli to see his little helper receiving messages from heaven and then taking over as God's spokesman to Israel, not a trace of envy marred Eli's speech or actions. Willingly, he bowed to God's choice for a new leader. "He is the Lord," exclaimed the big-hearted priest. "Let him do what is good in his eyes." So Eli moved over, and Samuel moved up. That was a lesson the prophet Samuel never forgot. And it served him well, for years later the time came for him to be replaced in leadership, rejected by the nation and replaced by a king. Like Eli, Samuel, with great grace, anointed his successor and kissed him, saying, "Has not the Lord appointed you leader?" Then he became counselor to the head of state, content to play second fiddle. So Samuel moved over, and Saul moved up. But in the course of time, God ordained that Saul should move over, and the shepherd warrior David of Bethlehem should move up. And Eli and Samuel never shine more brightly in how they handled competition than when contrasted with this mad monarch, Saul, who was filled with venomous hatred for his replacement. Consumed with envy, the Bible tells us Saul eyed David, hunting him as the hound hunts the fox. And the time will come, if it isn't here already, when it's our turn to move over again and let someone else move up. As leaders, we'll have had our day. The Lord will choose younger or healthier men or women with greater energy and fresher vision to fill our shoes. How will we respond? Will they find in you and me an Eli or a Samuel, recognizing that this is what God has ordained for us? Will we graciously help to make them successful? Or will we descend into bitterness and resentment like Saul? It's a choice. So, let's pray for grace and be willing to move over and help someone else to take our place when the time is right. And it will take grace, for as Charles Spurgeon, the celebrated 19th century Prince of Preachers, observed, "It takes more grace than I can tell to play the second fiddle well." And thank you for tuning in once again to Village Church Connections.